All right, what is up? Welcome to Spoiler Kings. We are going to talk about episode 4 through 9 of Andor, mostly 8 and 9, but we didn't really discuss the 4, 5, and 6. That was all kind of one story, and then 7, 8, and 9 are the newest story that happened this week. But Brandman, we'll start with you because I know you do enjoy this one. What do you think about the last two bunches of episodes?
The last handful of episodes has really gotten me even more invested in a way that I didn't expect. Um, I like that it's more of a it's kind of more Star Wars geared towards adults, I guess you could say. I really like a lot of the character moments. I like how, despite the fantastical setting that we're used to from Star Wars, I enjoy how grounded it feels, which I never thought I'd say about Star Wars.
Star Wars
Um,
grounded.
yeah,
Star Wars.
I like that. I like that we're seeing more of the rebellion side of things. I like that it doesn't feel like Star Wars in the conventional sense. I think it's something fresh. It's probably my favorite thing of the of like the Star Wars streaming service universe or whatever you'd call it. Uh, and Diego Luna and Genevieve O'Reilly are probably my two favorite actors on this. Especially Genevieve O'Reilly. She's just absolutely killing this, I think. I just I like the subtle tension of the show, and I like how it's finally kind of building up to where we first meet Andor in Rogue One. So it's not only is it something that I enjoy, it's something that I'm enjoying in a way that I didn't expect to enjoy it.
Mm. Okay. Well, you, Brian, just overall thoughts of the last bunch of episodes.
All right, so 4, 5, 6. It was a show. There was stuff happening. Cool. I mean, it was like there's no. I think what you said made most sense. Like if it was a different show, then I wouldn't have all this hate. I just wouldn't. If it wasn't Star Wars, yeah, I'd be like, cool, whatever. It's whatever. But it's not Star Wars until now. Now that it's feeling a lot better. 8, a lot of crap went down. Death, the plan. Oh my goodness. We're going to shoot one of our own guys to start the intrigue. Like that was so cool. That was smart. So I'm not a fan with a lot of stuff, but when something is done well, I'm okay with it saying it's done well. Before I really think I said 4, 5, and 6 was I put in the same box as 1, 2, and 3. Okay. 7, okay. 8, great. And I'm watching 9, and that was pretty good too, and it's interesting too. So I'm in the point where I'm like, okay, I'm actually interested, and that's the first time I've said this about this show in a long time. The idea that this is for adults. What Star Wars wouldn't be for adults? Like I don't understand. Like what is Star Wars geared towards kids? Like it's not necessarily that way anyway. I think it's just that whole concept to me doesn't make sense. But I'm happy that this is going well now. That's what would have happened in episode 3.
Yeah, I wish 8 and 9 would have happened in season 1. Because for me it's like you said, 4, 5, and 6 was just kind of more of the same kind of stuff going on. Like, okay, Cassian's doing this, he's figuring out, but it was definitely setting up more.
They're getting
7, 8, 9, but it just
and Mon Mothma, like they're both the two antagonists, like kind of setting
coming
up
at
this point.
Yeah, to get them together finally. Yeah. I agree with that, but it's just. The first 3, I was like, okay. I kind of like had to struggle through a little bit. 7 was like, I'm like, okay, like shit's going to happen. You see it all coming together, but 8 and 9 is where it's at, because holy crap. Because I think I was telling you guys before the show, 8 and 9 felt more like Rogue One, like all the stuff was happening, and not just because of the action, but also because of the action. But it felt like I was actually watching the start of the rebellion. Like, oh, this is the restart. Because like everything else felt like false starts almost. Like season 1, when the Empire screwed over those people, nothing happened. The Empire screwed over these people, nothing happened. Empire screwed over a bunch of prisoners, nothing happened. So I was like, okay, when is gonna be the thing that actually creates the rebellion? And this horrible thing the Empire did, is like, okay, like this is the thing that finally happened. Could it be because there were a bunch of like pretentious rich assholes and everyone else was just poor, so no one cared when the poor people died, but now all the rich people who make like fancy like silk, basically, it seems like, with the spiders, like, oh, they're dying, oh, now we have to pay attention. So I'm like, oh, okay, so real world shit. So, and that was kind of like one of the issues I had, is like, if this everything feels very real world, and
I got real world too, outside on my outside.
Yeah,
I watch the news.
Yeah. I was trying to think her speech, Mon Mothra's her speech. I have to give credit, because holy shit, it is such a good speech. Like, oh my god. Like, so here, I had to bring it up. The death of truth, the death of truth is the ultimate victory of evil. When truth leaves us, and when it slips away, when it is ripped from our hands, we become vulnerable to the appetite of whatever monster screams the loudest. Like, bro, like her fucking speech was so good, and it probably got to be one of the best moments of the entire show. So like there's some like really cool things, and then everything that happens after the speech is kind of just like this is the actual start of the rebellion. Like, so yeah.
What's that? So that what you were saying, basically it was 19 episodes of pre-rebellion, and then I
mean, because I always felt
we'll
like
get
it was
5
like
of really good.
So, but yeah, man, when she said that, though, the death of truth is the ultimate victory of evil, I was like, boy, like these writers knew what they were they were talking to somebody, and it wasn't the Emperor. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, but it was Gilroy can write speeches. That who wrote it?
Yeah, he can.
That was really good.
The speech scenes are probably one of my favorite things about the show.
Yeah. Even everything happening in the background, because you have who I can't think, Organa's people trying to get her, but they're infected with bad guys, and then Lufin's and Andor trying to get her to save her. She doesn't know who to trust, and it's just a lot of like undermining, and who's really the bad guy, who's really the good guys. Lufin constantly lying, is that good or bad, and like stuff like that is really interesting. But it just sucks. Like I'm finally invested in the show, and there's only 3 episodes left. I was like, cool. So, and I'm not even like sure that these last 3 episodes are going to be good. Like I'm kind of worried. Like it's not. It's going to kind of.
It's only because you've been hurt so many times before. You've been hurt so many times, and you're like, I'm not sure I could continue to do this and be hurt again. That's all.
Yeah. So that's kind of our thoughts. We're kind of all over the place with this show between the 3 of us. But there's a few things I did want to bring up, just because it talks more about like the fandom and the show a little bit. Is that this show is it's very grounded, like Brandman said, but it was very grounded in the real world. I felt like too. It was like you can draw a lot of lines
Parallels.
to our world and stuff that's going on right now, stuff that's recent history, stuff like that. Do you think that that's good or is bad? Wait, Brandman.
That like just how grounded the show is.
But it being
No.
connected to the real world, like there's a lot of parallels between that.
Sure, I'm fine with it. I think it's something kind of fresh that, to an extent, we needed in the Star Wars universe. And I think it kind of suits the plight of the title character. So I don't really see it working any other way in the case of Andor himself and the world that they've kind of shown him existing in, or the side of the universe that they show him existing in. And like I said, it's actually, much to my own surprise, one of my favorite things about the show.
Yeah, I mean it's also like I'm pretty sure with Brian, but it's like, was it long ago in a galaxy far, far away or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, here's shit that happened last week in the real world. Like is it? I'll say confusing. I don't know. I don't know if it sits right with this space odyssey opera thing.
That's what it. I think people get lost on what it is. What Star Wars supposed to be? It's supposed to be this space opera, this whole very cool world that has good, evil, all that stuff. And sometimes I don't need more politics, and I think that's what turns me off, because the world that we live in now, I don't need more of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the shit that I have now in this world. So I think that turns me off in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know political stuff happens, and it happened in this world, and we had Rogue One, and we had to get to that point. But I don't necessarily need that. And that's probably my biggest thing. I don't need what's happening out in this world that I don't even like now, that I'm in, being part of the TV show. So but with that being said, I still think 8 and 9 are good. It's a good way to do things. I mean, it had stakes, and the stakes mattered, and that's great. But I just won't enjoy it that way. I just won't enjoy it that way. That's me.
Yeah. Because it's like saying one thing. So say like, for example, like things being connected to what we watch is the prequels. With the prequels being very political, and the whole thing is like, oh, we're gonna have this trade war that's gonna influence the politics of the universe, and everyone's gonna lose their damn mind. Like, what? Like, flash forward 20 years later, what the fuck? So that's a little different. Because like, did George Lucas see the future or what?
That's more Simpsons. That's more
Simpsons, like, future telling kind of thing. But where this is more like responding to what's happening in the real world now, but also in the sense of what is going on in the universe of Star Wars, like the rebellion, blah 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 blah. It's just I feel like they hit really close with things, talking about like, I believe they said like certain keywords that you hear a lot on the news, and I was like, so, and which is weird because I'm trying to look for it. Anybody in chat, if you can correct me, I'm pretty sure George Lucas said he wanted to make sure Star Wars isn't a reminder of the real world. Like it's taking things from real world, like wars, Vietnam War, other things like that, fascism and stuff, but also taking it to a different place where you don't feel like you're reminded of this world, where TVs didn't exist, books didn't exist, because you're that far advanced. And then in this show, it's like, here's books, here's a TV for the first time ever in Star Wars, you know. So
I mean, the idea is a long, a galaxy far, far away, a long, long ago. So like that's the whole point, right? So why would it need to be the day stuff? So I don't know. And as I say, you're free to like it, and I totally understand. You know.
Yeah.
And it's when it's well thought out. So like I'm not talking about the quality of what's being produced. I just don't like the idea. Because it's well thought out. It makes perfect sense. There's never been an episode where I said this doesn't make sense.
Books were in the Last Jedi. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that movie. But yeah, I mean, books were in there, but like even in this show, like I'm pretty sure I saw somebody walking around with like a notebook or some shit. I could be wrong. I only watched it once, but I thought I saw like a notebook. You know. But yeah, but a TV, like we saw a TV, you know, with like a news, and even like when they were on the planet of Gorman, whatever, like they were like, there was like a news guy, like a press guy, you know, like speaking to a camera. So it was like, I'm like, oh, you're legit doing like real world stuff, you know, which I'm not saying is horrible, but it's also really like too spot on, you know. The Empire have always been space Nazis. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
they've always been space Nazis.
Yep.
Like that's the inspiration behind them, is just this fascist regime. You know, I mean, the way they dress, the way they look, the way they talk, everything,
the way they march, all of it.
Yeah.
Even the sounds and the theme songs for everything. That's what it was about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There you go. What's up, Jeeves?
Jeez. Oh my goodness. What's up?
She said, how can we suspend disbelief and get lost in the story when they're showing us believable stuff we're living in? And good evening. Yeah.
It's where I'm at. This is where I'm at.
Yeah. So and then so Delta Dan said, pretty sure George was talking about buildings, machines, and computers back in 1977. Yeah. You know, which I was like, yeah, because you don't want to be reminded of this world, right? You know. And the TV was really interesting because, like, at first I saw it, I'm like, have we ever seen something like that before? The closest thing would be the little hologram, right? You know, which those I want to consider them TVs, you know. So I know it's an interesting kind of thing, but yeah, not saying like it took me out, like, oh, this is so unbelievable now, you know. Like I'm just saying, like it's interesting the way they're going about it, you know. Yeah. Said, of course they're Nazis, stormtroopers. Yeah.
No, I agree. No, that's not the question.
Yeah. No, they're bad, you know. So, and he even said as much, you know, the original Star Wars was very, very political driven, you know. It was about the wars. It was about the little wars. He even said the Vietnam War, the Korean War, like where the little nobodies against the big empire, you know, and
they all use guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, you know, and the little people won
all of them. So
yeah, I believe it was like who is it? James Cameron and George Lucas on a table talking to each other, which is a really interesting video to watch. You know, not because it's bad, just because like hearing him talk about like Star Wars in that way. But with Andor, I'm into it now. Just because I feel like we're getting close to Rogue One, and I really do love Rogue One.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rogue One's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, you know, and I feel like we're getting closer to that now. You know, we got the robot, the KS, whatever, coming in. You know, stuff like that. Like, were any of you guys surprised with his with Binks? What's her name? Bix. Yeah.
Kind of. I thought she was going to die.
I did too.
Yeah,
I did too.
Were you happy she lived, or did you want her?
Kinda. Even though that makes it more tragic, because you know, you assume that she's going to be alive when Cassian dies. You know.
Yeah. Because I was always wondering, I'm like, how are they going to get rid of her? Mm-hmm. Like, I and the easiest answer was like they're going to kill her because what is it? Fridge the girlfriend. I mean, that's basically what they're going to do: kill her, motivate him to be even more fight for the cause. But I think her removing herself was better in that sense, though. So I'm glad they didn't cheap it. They go the cheap route, and do that. Like she made the adult decision is like, I need to remove myself from this because you have to be the person you're meant to be, kind of thing. So so again, the writing's good. Characters are doing decisions that are good. You didn't cheap and just kill her.
It's very reality based. This is what would happen in reality. None of that can be complained about, right? Can you complain about any of that stuff? No. I mean, this is what it is. That's not the complaint. My complaint is it's unnecessary. But the quality, it's great.
Yeah.
This quality is probably better than a lot of these other Star Wars TV shows.
I mean, the quality is probably better than the last two movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just saying, like, I just wish it was
not wrong.
It was a story that I can get more behind, like Rogue One. I think it just dragged out a little too long for me. Now we're getting to where I finally wanted to get. It's like, this is where I wanted to get from season 1. You should have did this instead of like this slow burn of, I don't want to be in the rebellion. Okay, now I am. And now I don't want to be killing people in the rebellion. And now I'm a leader. It's like, bro, like,
here's my question.
I don't know.
If there was only one season, 15 episodes, would you like it better? If you took all the best parts of all this stuff, it was only 15 episodes, would you like this more?
What about you, Brian?
Possibly.
To the point, like, the last 3, and then I mean these last 6 that we're about to get. Last 5 that we have. So it's that'll be 5, right? And then
assuming that the last 3 are good,
I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
And then you took 10 of the last 20 they did.
Yeah. I mean, it might. That. Yeah.
We all said there are good parts. There are good instances in it, and if there was all something like happening all the time and did 15 episodes, and we had all those things happening, and you still got your political part, and you still got, but you got to the feeling of the Rogue One feeling a little faster, what would you then say this is a good, really good?
Yeah. Because I think within 15 episodes, like you said, like the last 5, you would get these episode 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then 10 out of the last 20, like, yeah. Because then you're able to get to the point quicker and then just keep moving on. Like, you don't have to.
Every episode would matter.
Stuck. Yeah. Everything would matter more. And you can still do your prison escape episode. You can still do like, your heist episode from season 1 and stuff like that. So, yeah. So it's just the problem that for me was it was just sitting on things for too long. Like Shifty saying season 1 was perfect. I
can't agree with that.
If they would have sped it up, I think it would have been better. They spent 3 episodes on like doing the heist, and then the heist happened, and then they just moved on. Like, cool. Like.
But they could have done one episode trying to do the heist and then heist, and then one episode explaining this, and then they could have done that a little bit.
The heist was cool. The prison escape was cool. Like there were cool parts. It just
but it felt like no payoff. But it's because their whole point was to kind of give you build this whole thing up. But if they would have did it all in like this last, let's say 20 and 10. All of a sudden, you just cut out 10 episodes.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this becomes really, a good way of doing it. And it's only one season, and you can enjoy this Star Wars story in between all the stuff that feels Star Warsy. And then now it's more of a behind the scenes outlook and less of a drawn out thing, a little bit more.
Yeah. As said, but Andor would be great if it was 2 2-hour movies. Yeah, which would have been.
But then you would have got a whole movie, and then asked us to come back for the second movie.
Yeah,
I would be ready better with a in-game time movie. You understand, like a 3.5 hour movie. So you get the ups and downs. You cut a little bit out of it, but you still get, and then you get the climax all in one sitting.
Yeah, I mean, just do a legit prequel to Rogue One. Just do a legit prequel to Rogue One. You know, like
Let it
that
be
would,
long.
yeah,
3.5 hours.
2.5 hour movie, 3 hour even if you want to really like stretch it. But yeah,
give it in game because you could have a lot of that stuff. You could do a lot of things. I think even Brandman, he talks about a lot when you say some TV shows some things are better at TV shows and some things are better at movies as movies.
Mhm.
I think this might be better as a movie.
I could see it lending itself to a movie.
Yeah.
I'm fine with I'm fine with the route they're taking with the show, but it could definitely work as a movie.
Yeah. It just because season 1 happened, but then season 2 comes in and it's like it's skipping. So it was like, so you had all that time in season 1, and then you were very linear with your time, right? And now you're in season 2, and now like you have to, here's a story, skip. Here's a story, skip. Here's a story, skip. It's like, why are you skipping when you had the time? You had the time. I don't get it. So that's kind of the issue, is like you're trying to like which means you dragged it out and now you're rushing it,
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what Shifty says. Shifty said Gilroy also said he was edited several episodes of the season to a movie for a possible showing alongside Rogue One's anniversary. That'd be cool. I think you can cut the 2 seasons into maybe like a 2.5 hour, 3 hour
really
movie.
good, intense movie.
Yeah, 100%. How y'all think Luthen goes down? He ain't lasting the season for sure. I don't think he's gonna last. We'll get into some like not spoilers, but theories, because obviously Luthen doesn't last, so he's got to be gone. We already found out what happened with Bix or Binks, whatever her name is.
Bix.
He's him. Who's another loose end that needs to get tied up before the end of the show? Mothra's husband. I think he's another loose end. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, just her family in general.
I would say your daughter's husband.
Yeah. But Luthen's obviously the most.
Because he's such a liar. He's such a dick, and no one likes
him.
Seriously.
Yeah, I know. But he's a good liar. He's doing it for good reasons. He's just really doing it in the most dickish asshole.
Yeah, he's a shitbag.
It's just no matter what. Like we can all agree on that, right?
Where's Hold up. So before we get into that, we did get another loose end tied up in this episode.
Episode 8.
With Delta Dan saying, I'll say it again, Cyril got a better death scene than Taskmaster.
You're not wrong. That was good.
That was good.
That was good.
Cyril, I think I enjoyed like kind of that, a little bit at the end, because finally Cyril got a spine, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna stop dating my mother, basically. That's who the other chick was, and I'm gonna stand up for myself, and
he just happened to be looking across from Cassian.
His mother is the creepiest character on the show as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, she's a horrible mother. She's a horrible mother. Yeah, Cyril got killed by the villain of the strain.
You see the strain get some love.
Nice. Yeah. But I was wondering, I'm like, who's gonna kill him? Because obviously he's not gonna shoot Cassian.
Yeah.
Obviously he's not. So I'm like, who's gonna get that kill in? But I'm kind of glad it was that dude.
Yeah, Carl. Rylance, whatever.
Yeah, because he felt very betrayed by him. Yeah. Kedro was like, what the F are you? Yeah. Or like Cassian is like, who are you? Meanwhile, like Cyril's like, you ruined my life. You don't even know.
He's like, yeah, who? What the hell?
Yeah. Basically it was the Thanos Like, you took everything from me. He's like, who are you?
I don't even know who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's one of the best.
Yeah. But Cyril got it.
You ruined my life. Where do I know you from?
Exactly. So we'll finish up because we got the last 3 episodes, the finale, the end of the show. So what are you guys saying about Lufin and any other loose ends that you guys can think of? What do you think? Start with Brian. What do you think?
I think Lucian's going to friendly fire. Friendly fire is going to kill him. And just payback for all the stuff he's doing and just being a complete asshole. No matter what, no matter if the right reason or wrong reason, he's just an asshole. And you know what assholes get? Shots. Matter of fact, you know what? Just to make me feel better, I want a lightsaber through the heart.
Just random lightsaber.
Just random. Hasn't been a lightsaber the entire thing. Just a random lightsaber through the stomach, and he don't live.
Nice. Okay. What are you, Brian, man?
Yeah, Luthen. He's gonna obviously he's not walking out of this series in one piece, or breathing. So yeah, he's gonna catch a stray.
Yeah. It's gonna be like what was it? Saul Guerrera just points a gun at him and just shoots him. Traitor.
Could be. I could see that happening. By the way, Forrest Whitaker in this show is great, I think.
Yeah. I hate his character.
Oh yeah, same. I'm the same way.
You know, because like between this and Rogue One, I was like, even in Rebels, he shows up in Rebels.
Yep.
The show. So yeah, it's definitely a love-hate kind of thing. I was like you're like, again, another asshole, another dickhead, but it's like, but I can't hate you, man. It's just you're just an asshole in the best possible way, you know. But Forrest Whitaker is as this crazy. Oh, the line he said, he goes something about like no one's sane in the rebellion or something like that. Was that the line? Because that was like awesome.
I think something similar, yeah.
They said revolution is not for the sane. That's a fucking awesome line, man. That's an awesome line. You know, yeah. Which is and it fits his character perfectly. Perfectly fits his character, and it just like, oh, that's who you are. You're a crazy person that's fighting for the right reason. It's just you're crazy. You know?
That's the problem. Being a crazy person, you still a crazy person. You know?
Yeah.
It.
Yeah. Revolution is not for the sane. That is awesome. That is such a great line. Make a t-shirt out of that. But yeah. I'm trying to think of any other loose ends. You know, Lufin is the biggest one. Could be Padme. I heard this one too. You might have said it actually, Shifty. Padme's dad. If the Theed production pick was true, Deidre gets a position on the Death Star, and Andy Serkis was supposed to be returning to the season, so we may see him. That'd be cool. See Andy Serkis come back. I like this character in season 1. I like the whole jail thing. They just need to tie it down to a good hour instead of stretching that shit out for 3 hours. Yeah,
I could say that way about a lot of stuff that they
a lot of it. Yeah, you know, it's just like just condense it and move on. You know, so yeah, but yeah, Lufin will be interesting. I don't know. I think he's gonna die though somehow. I think he's gonna. I think he might do the right thing and somehow protect somebody and take a bullet for him. You know,
someone just causes them to get shot because of it. Yeah.
So, I said someone will be like, "I'm gonna change your last name to Bob." Lightsaber through the stomach.
Exactly. Shishka.
Bob. Oh man, but yeah. Anything else you guys think of?
That's mostly it.
Yeah.
As far as
I'm all
concerned.
for it.
Yeah. Upset that I finally am into this into the show, and there's only 3 episodes left.
Well,
So,
that's kind of how it goes, honestly.
yeah.
I mean, we can say the same thing about Last of Us. It's only 3 episodes left.
Oh. But I was never bored in Last of Us. not ever at one point ever. So that's the only difference.
You still have enough time.
Yeah, I know, right? But cool. Yeah, that's our thoughts for it. Obviously, we talked 8 and 9 mostly, with everything. But we want to hear from you guys. Episode 4 through 9. I know we missed a lot there, but we're trying to get ready for the finale next week with the last 3 episodes. So we're trying to get caught up. But leave a comment. Let us know what you guys think about Andor season 2 so far, all the way up to episode 9. Leave a comment. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Come and join us when we talk about other Star Wars stuff, which we do all the time. Andor, and we're gonna get into the finale. So make sure you guys come and join us and be part of the live show. And if you are live right now, stick around because we're gonna move on to our next topic for the night.